Okay, now!
At the beginning of 2022, I decided to keep track and rank every video game, TV show, and movie that I consumed throughout the year. I broke them down in a standard tier system, along with ranking them in numerical order. I wasn't able to get around to everything I wanted to watch or play, most notably off the top of my head, The Fablemans, The Banshees of Inisherin, and A Plague Tale Requiem. There was a good amount of other things that I wanted to watch, but I just couldn't get around to watching everything I wanted to. Also, some things this year really surprised me, and some things really disappointed me. And I know that there will be rankings on this list that people won't agree with, but that's part of the beauty of the subjectivity of film, TV shows, just entertainment in general. Now, please humor me and excuse any stutters and hiccups as we go through the 111 new things that I watched this year. Now, they could be 40 years old or they could have been released last week. If they're new to me, they made the list. Now let's get started with the only item in my F tier. The 2004 movie Jamie Marks is Dead. I was looking for some horror movies to watch around a particular time of the year, and this one looked interesting, poster looked interesting, concept looked interesting. Hated it. Only movie in my F tier that I consider to be bad movies. Now, I'm pretty generous when it comes to ranking things in general, but I almost turned that movie off multiple times. The story just did not click with me. I thought it was really ridiculous, just did not work for me at all. Now, let's move on. Try not to make this video too long. Number 110, My Best Friend's Exorcism. Movie that I had higher expectations for, considering the team that was behind making it. I didn't hate it, obviously, but there was a couple redeeming things in the movie that saved it from the F tier for me. A couple things towards the end that saved it for me. Number 109, Disappearance at Clifton Hills. Honestly, I just remember this movie being decent when I watched it. Right now, I vaguely could remember anything from it. Now, here's one that people may not agree with me. Me and my wife would do a podcast called Classic Movie Night. So there's going to be some movies on here that I've never seen before, that people consider classics, people love, people hold in high regard. One movie that I had high expectations for that did not work for me was the 1986 movie Little Shop of Horrors. I felt like there was a couple fun moments in it, maybe one song, two songs maybe that worked for me. Fan of the cast, but other than that, nah, didn't work for me. Number 107, Book of Boba Fett, Season 1. Show that I had very high expectations for. I'm a Star Wars fan, and this show just did not do it for me at all. The Vespa gang was terrible. Everything felt really bad. It just there's a couple of redeeming parts towards the end of the season, which kept it out of the F tier. Scream 5, another one where I was hoping for better things, and it was just, for a franchise that's so self-aware, they do really stupid things. The characters in the movies are just always just doing ridiculously stupid things, even though they're supposed to be so self-aware of how everything works. And it bugs me. The 1992 movie Death Becomes Her at 105. Bruce Willis, Goldie Hawn, good little movie. Nothing, it was meh. Don't remember much about it. I mean, there are some crazy parts in it with all the killings and stuff, but it was alright. Here's another beloved movie from some that didn't really work for me. Again, some songs I liked about it and what, but 104, Rocky Horror Picture Show. I do not, again, I'm watching this brand new in 2022. Um, kind of like Rocky Horror Picture Show. There was a couple things I liked about it, enough to keep it out of the F tier, but nothing that really resonated with me. My wife, she has a history with the movie, going to the live show, so she loves the movie, and that's cool. For me, it's just not quite there. Here's a disappointing one: 103. Halloween Ends. Um, what can you say? It's not even a. It's barely a Mike Myers movie. It, there's concepts in the movie that I liked, if but I felt like they would have been better suited as not part of the Halloween franchise. Everything else, let's move on. 102 VHS 99. Um, I've never been a huge fan of the VHS movies, but I thought I'd give this a go. Heard some good things. And overall, this is the first movie in my D tier, which I consider to be okay. And there was one of the shorts that I really liked, and the rest were insanely forgettable. I can briefly remember the first one just because it was kind of crazy, but overall, yeah, 102. 101. This is a movie that I heard a lot of people say if you like the Stranger Things vibe and stuff. I think I watched this after Stranger Things because I was looking for some more of that vibe, and that is The Summer of '84, 2019. And there was just some crazy plot holes in this movie. And I have a hard time getting through crazy plot holes. I try, I kind of grade my horror movies on a curve, and I try to get through them because usually in horror movies there are a lot of plot holes, but in this movie there was just some that were really unredeemable. Number 100. Me and my wife used to watch The Goldbergs, and I decided to, while I was working, catch up on a few seasons. Season 7 through 9 discounts for season 3, 7, 8, 9. 3 full seasons coming at 100 for me. It's kind of background noise. It was fine. Chuckled a couple times. The show is way past its prime. It should have been ended years ago. 99, The Cursed. 2021's The Cursed. Werewolf movie. Great setting. I thought that the atmosphere was really good. Story was decent. Effects were pretty good. Overall, not a bad little movie. I would recommend people checking it out. Number 98, Fresh. This was a movie a lot of people have high on their list, especially for horror movies. I was just pretty bored with it. I didn't think there was much clever with it. I'm not really into like cannibal type stuff too much, so maybe that's part of why it didn't really resonate much with me. But yeah, that came in at 98. 97, Antlers. This was a movie that I had pretty high hopes for, and overall, again, it's okay. Um, I'm from the Pacific Northwest, so the fact that it took place in Oregon was something. It's kind of cool, but the story itself was, again, it's just kind of forgettable. I mean, it's not a bad little horror movie. I don't regret watching it by any means. Number 96. This is an interesting one. This is on me and my wife's podcast that we do. We decided to start watching some Buster Keaton, and we watched 4 shorts. I don't have them listed what they were. There are 4 of his earlier shorts though, because we're kind of trying to do them in order. And that came in at 96. One of them I really liked. It was the one where they get married and they buy the house, and I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but that one was really good. The couple of the other ones were, again, pretty forgettable, and it's kind of a shame because I was really hoping to like those more than I did. Um, 95 is just a game of service. I don't really ever play Fortnite, but my brother got into it this year. He wanted me to play with him. So I played with him some. I had some fun with it. I know it's kind of weird because like, well, Fortnite's not new, but um man, before this year I barely touched it. So I put it on the list. Um The Cabinet of Curiosities, the first of my C tier at number 94. This is something that I was really looking forward to. I'm a huge Del Toro fan. Um, and I know why it didn't click with me as much as I was hoping with. One, he didn't direct them. I obviously had different directors for everything. So coming with that, I kind of understood, okay, yeah, I might not be as into this as I thought. There was a couple of the shorts that I just thought was just boring. I appreciate what they're going for, but when you have a 40-minute runtime and 30 minutes of it is people sitting around a couch talking slowly, it had a hard time keeping my attention. A couple of them I loved, but overall, that's where that fell. Number 93, NBA 2K22. There's not really much to say about those games. I'm a basketball fan. I play those games because I like basketball, and it's hard. It's getting hard to play those games. Very very sleazy practices within those games. Number 92, Cooking Show, The Final Table Season 1. I like cooking shows somewhat, and I thought I'd give this a try. It was a fun little show. Again, typical cooking show, nothing really stood out too much. Number 91, Moon Knight. This is, again, I like my comic book movies. I like my comic book shows. I expect them to be good. Moon Knight was fine. Um, Felt like I had pacing issues. Final, I felt like it was just kind of disappointing final. Overall, the story just kind of seemed all over the place. And again, my C tier, I consider all these to be good. So overall, I enjoyed my time with it, but it came in at, what was that? Number 91. Now, number 89. This movie I actually liked more than I thought I would. Now it's 89, so you're like, well, it's way down the list, but The Forever Purge. Not a fan of the Purge movies. I liked the first one. Everyone since then did not care for. This one, I enjoyed. I like the story in there and everything, and I like the way it played out, and the direction and everything is pretty good. Number 88, 2021's M. Night Shyamalan's Old. This, I used to be a huge Shyamalan fan, and I'm a big fan of Servant. I watched Servant, but yeah, this movie had some cool ideas, just didn't stick the landing for me, basically. 87, another. This was the first Warzone game. Played a lot of it in 2022, so I just threw that on my list. Okay, here's a couple movies that some people have very high on their list. It just in general. Mainly horror movie people, but also some other general people like these movies a lot. 86 X. Um, I just didn't feel like there was a lot there. My favorite thing about the movie was the film style. I loved how it felt like it was filmed during the time period that it took place. Um, Other than that, everything about it was felt kind of generic to me. Again, nothing that really stood out. Maybe I missed something. Maybe I'm not kind of in that world right or something, but it didn't really work for me. And with 85, that's Pearl. I like Pearl a little bit more than X. I just watched Pearl a couple days ago. It took me a while to get around to it. um, yeah, just so much unbelievable things happen in these movies, which again, it's fine. They're horror movies. Like I try to grade them with a curve, like I mentioned before. So overall, I enjoyed them. They're in my good tier. They just they didn't hit those highs that they hit with a lot of other people with me. Number 84 was The Baby, a limited series on HBO, which is, I believe it's a British show. Like, and this one kind of took me a surprise. I just kind of checked it out just because I was bored at work one day. And yeah, I had fun with it. Crazy story, like Devil Baby, and yeah, it's pretty cool. '83 Kenobi. Another big letdown. Kenobi, it just wasn't very, again, wasn't very well done in my opinion. Um, I like fun Star Wars, but I also want them to make sense. And there were some awesome parts in Kenobi, don't get me wrong, but a lot of it was just very, very forgettable and very underwhelming. Number 82, 1983's Mr. Mom. This movie was pretty good. I laughed a lot with this movie. It was came in at 83 partially just because it was a pretty typical standard kind of, oh, okay, that was a fun little watch. Now let's move on with my life. Nothing really special about it too much. Had some laughs and it was good. Number 81, She-Hulk, season 1. Um, the humor just didn't work for me. And I wasn't crazy about this. A lot of CGI was bad. There were some redeemable parts in it that I enjoyed. Some of the humor did work, but most of it didn't. And a couple of the episodes just I was just like, what the hell's going on? Did not enjoy the ending of it. Uh, but overall, had a pretty decent time with it. Pretty good time. Number 80, 2019's The Goldfinch. My wife wanted to watch this. She read the book, watched it with her. Um, it was fine. I mean, I don't know. Some of these I'm not gonna have much to say about them, but the performances didn't really stand out to me too much. My wife told me that it would have been much better. They would have stuck to the book, but I feel like book readers always say that when it comes to movies. So, yeah, it is what it is. NBA 2K23, number 79. Um, I haven't. I've barely been playing it. I played it a lot when it came out. Better than 22, but still only play when I get that basketball itch, basically. Plague Tale Innocent. I finally got around to playing this when it came to Game Pass. Uh, the stealth aspect of the game is a little slow for me, and I kind of have sometimes had a hard time keeping my attention. But overall, I enjoy the story, I enjoy the characters, and it's a solid game. And I'm really looking forward to digging into the second one, like I mentioned before. Number 77, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, season 15. This show, I've watched every season. I love this show. This show was, this season was just fine. It wasn't quite as good as some of the other seasons in the past. It was fine, it was enjoyable, laughed some. And number 76, the first Sonic the Hedgehog. Not seen number 2 yet. Watched Sonic the Hedgehog with my son, and I had a rather good time with it. I thought it was pretty good for a live action Sonic the Hedgehog movie. I was actually a little surprised by it. The Sandman season 1, one of those shows where had really high highs for me and really low lows. So kind of fell in that middle of that C tier, basically. 74 The Quarry, had fun playing that game. I played it co-op with a buddy, went over to his house for a few weekends, passed the controller back and forth, played it on PC. Solid choose your own adventure game, basically. Um, The Evil Within number 1 from 2014. I started this game actually in 2014. Completely fell off. Decided to pick it back up. I put it on the list because I ran credits on it and I probably played about 75% of it this year. So, um, from the original Resident Evil creators, solid horror game. Whew, long list. 72 Expedition X. It's basically just a spinoff of Expedition Unknown on Discovery. If you're familiar with that show at all, it's kind of go around looking at random paranormal or weird things around the planet. Entertaining show. Sometimes it's just background noise for me. Sometimes I watch the episodes. I find that kind of stuff entertaining. And yeah, 72. Number 71, The Time Traveler's Wife, season 1. I like this more than I thought it would. My wife is a fan of the book, and I'm a little bummed that I am a little bummed that they canceled it. It's not getting a season two. It felt like season was pretty fun. Number 70, Pepsi, Where's My Key? Documentary on Netflix. Again, just a fun little documentary on the Pepsi thing that happened back in the 90s with the points and the jet and everything. Fun watch. Number 69, here is another horror movie. I feel like a lot of my horror movies are lower than I was kind of expecting this year. I'm a big horror movie fan. Barbarian. This movie, I appreciate the twists and turns. There was just I really enjoyed the first half of it. The second half of it just didn't do anything for me. I was kind of bored once it's kind of the middle twist happens. I was kind of enjoying kind of the tone of the first half more. So it's a good movie, but yeah, it's kind of down on my list. Number 68 is Pixar's Turning Red. That was a fun, cute movie. I kind of enjoyed it more than I thought I would. Had a banger ending, and yeah, pretty good. Number 67, The Rise and Fall of And One Untold. Another documentary about the And One mixtapes. Fun watch if you're into that kind of stuff. Number 66, Hellraiser 2022. This movie actually, I'm not a Hellraiser fan. This movie surprised me. Liked it more than I thought I would. Solid 66. That's like a solid 66. Like almost I look at it and be like, maybe I should have put that a little higher. But solid. A good movie. Recommend watching it. Here's one that might be curious for people. But again, I'm watching this with a 2022 lens. Some things hit, some things didn't. And number 65, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess I just may not be the biggest Indiana Jones fan. I like the first one pretty good. We watched this for our podcast and had some fun parts in it, some crazy parts, some parts where I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Overall, I think it's good, but it's not as high on my list as probably a lot of people around my age range would be. Number 64, Archive 81, Season 1. Little thriller Netflix show that did not get a season 2, which I'm a little bummed out. It was like a mystery, suspense. It's a pretty good show. Number 63, Netflix's The Sea Beast. This one took me by surprise. I don't watch a lot of Netflix original animation, and had fun with them. And it just kind of felt like your DreamWorks Pixar-ish type movie. It was really good. 62, The Servant, season 3. I mentioned that I watched the show before. Um, Man, I'm looking at this list and it's kind of crazy because some of this stuff I really like, and it's still like in those 60 range of stuff. I'm pretty generous, I guess. Servant season 3, season 4 is coming out, final season. Really looking forward to it. 61, another horror movie. Kind of low on my list that people love is Smile. Um, very again, that's very generic. I guess I expect more from horror than I think I do, maybe, but very generic and kind of saw everything coming a mile away. Number 60, I split this into two because kind of the way they're presenting the show is in different parts. Attack on Titan, the final season, part one. Um, it was fine. It was entertaining. It was kind of slow for me. I had a hard time kind of getting into it. So kind of fell down the list a bit. Number 59, Black Adam. Now, this is a bad movie. Poorly written movie. Hate the little kid in it. Terrible actor. It's just the movie is a bad movie, but I would be lying if I said I did not have a lot of fun with this movie. I came out of the movie theater smiling basically, regardless of how bad I thought that the bones of the movie were. Number 58, A Christmas Story Christmas. HBO Max's sequel to A Christmas Story, and it was fun. A little trip down memory lane, basically reminiscing off the first one. Fun little story, and I enjoyed it. I think it's a good double header with the original one for sure. Come Christmas time. 57, The Midnight Club, limited series, also on Netflix. I am a I'm a pretty big Mike Flanagan fan. Had really looking forward to this movie or this series, and it for the most part I really liked it. It was borderline B tier, borderline C tier for me. There's some bad dialogue in it, but I kind of chalk that up as to there's just these teenagers telling these stories. So when there's bad dialogue within the stories, that's kind of how I excuse that, I guess. And the story was fine. Everything about it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I would have liked to see season two. Apparently, they wanted to make a season two, but it's not happening. It got canceled. 56. Watched this other night. Elvis. Um, Gorgeous movie. I'm not an Elvis fan, but I thought I'd give it a watch. And this is actually the first movie of my B tier, which I do consider great. Uh, which is kind of funny because 56, great. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people had this movie on their near their top 10 list for the movies. This movie just maybe didn't quite resonate with me because I'm don't really care for Elvis, but other than that, I thought everything about it was pretty awesome. Number five, George Carlin's American Dream documentary, just basically documentary on George Carlin's life. I believe it's on HBO. Really funny, really entertaining, really insightful. Really recommend it. Miss Marvel season one. This show really took me by surprise. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would actually with this one, and the family dynamics, everything in it was pretty awesome. It kind of fell down my list a little bit, partially because of there's an episode or two in there that just had some really cringy stuff in it for me that just did not work for me. But overall, I really enjoyed the show. Um, Number 53, Immortality. I played this on Xbox Series X. It's a different game. It's a game where you're basically trying to solve somebody's murder by watching old film reels and connecting dots, and it's really hard to explain. It's not a typical video game. If you could get a chance to check out a trailer for it or something, I would highly recommend checking this game out. Number 52, Spirited. Ryan Reynolds, Will Ferrell. Um, Christmas musical Scrooge movie on Apple Plus. Had a lot of fun with it. Really loved this movie. It was really good. It would definitely be a movie that I'll check out in the future around Christmas time. Number 51, CBS's Ghosts, season one and two. Me and my wife don't have a lot of things that we watch together these days, partially because of my work schedule. But this show we watch, I really funny. It's been growing on me more and more and more as the characters in the show grow. It's actually pretty good show. I really like it. As far as kind of like current sitcom or it's not a sitcom, but current comedy shows on network television, this is top for me. School of Chocolate season one on Netflix. I forget the chocolate dude's name off the top of my head. He's a master. See his stuff all over TikTok. I actually watched a show before I found him in other places, believe it or not, but awesome show. I like it that it's not a typical like elimination cooking show. It's they treat it more of a school, school for chocolate. So it was really fun, really cool, and really neat to see some of the things that they made. 49, here's a classic. A lot of people consider one of the best films of all time. Um, and I love this movie, but there was a couple aspects in it that either bored me or and just didn't click with me. And at number 49, that is Singing in the Rain. Um, Again, overall, thought it was great, but there was a stretch in there where I got pretty bored. and so that dropped it down a bit for me. Number 48, Queer Eye season 6. It's another show I watch with my wife. Love this show, love the stories, love the transformations. Don't know how real everything is and whatnot, but it works for me. I really enjoy it. Number 47, Free Guy. 2021's Free Guy, Ryan Reynolds. This movie I actually liked more than I thought it would. A lot of fun. Loved all the Easter eggs, all the humor in it. Everything worked for me in that movie. The cameos were pretty cool. It's gonna be a long video for my first video ever. Okay, or first video on this channel at this time. Um, Number 46, Hustle, the Adam Sandler Netflix movie. Again, basketball fan, had a lot of fun with it. Thought all the acting in it was really good. The story was solid. Yeah, overall, I really enjoyed it. I like Adam Sandler's more serious stuff, and this wasn't like super serious, but it wasn't one of his it wasn't one of his quirky comedies. So number 45, Guardians of the Galaxy, the video game. Xbox. That's what I played it on. And I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed the story in this game. I thought the game was super awesome. The combat gets pretty repetitive. That's probably the biggest flaw of the movie, but the banter between the characters in the game. Some of the characters are deeper in the game, like Drax is way deeper in the game than he ever was in any of the movies, so that was pretty cool to see. Number 44, Marvelous Miss Maisel, season 4. Me and my wife, again, another show that we watch. I like Maisel. It's solid, solid show. It's really entertaining, and season 5 is coming out soonish, and that's gonna be the final season. Really looking forward to it. Yellow Jackets, season 1. This movie I heard good, or show I heard good things about, and it took me a while to check it out, but once I got to it, I really enjoyed it. Season 2 again is coming out soon, and really looking forward to it. Number 42, 2021. I watched in 2022 when it came out to Disney Plus, Eternals. A lot of people bag on this movie. I really enjoyed it. I think it has one of the best speedsters that's ever been on film, the way it's portrayed. And now I will give that the main villain is really generic, so that's the worst part of the movie for sure. And you don't quite get as much background on the main characters as one would like, but overall, I really enjoyed this movie. 41, Klaus, 2019's Klaus. I watched this a couple weeks ago with my son, Christmas time. Never seen it before, and really solid movie. Really solid animated Christmas movie about Santa Claus becoming Santa Claus, basically tugging on the heartstrings some, and yeah, really enjoyed it. Number 40, Winning Time. I was obsessed with the show when it came out. Once I realized that a lot of the stuff in it was very not true, that kind of bugged me a little bit. Now I don't mind changing historical things for entertainment purposes, but I don't know why. For some reason, this one just kind of bugged me with how much they changed. I'm not a Laker fan, but I am a basketball fan, and it's really well done outside of that. So that's, I mean, just the production value and the writing, and that's part of why I put it as high as I did, even though I do get bugged about the inaccuracy about the actual history. Number 39 is a show that I was expecting great things for. The Rings of Power, season 1. Multiple storylines I didn't care for. I felt like the show though did get better and better, and by the season finale, I was like, okay, I want more. First couple episodes, I was like, oh my god, no, this is not good. But at the end of the day, it won me over, and then some, I guess I could say. I mean, it came in 39 for me. Number 38, Wednesday, season 1. Had a lot of fun with this show. Tim Burton, obviously, kind of took the world by storm. Had some issues with it, obviously, but overall, man, it's not really directed towards my age range or my demographic, really, but I had a lot of fun with it for sure. Number 37, Ghostbusters Afterlife. Again, this is kind of a little bit like Wednesday. You know, there's some nostalgia in it, obviously, to for the older audience, but they are trying to bring in a new audience with it, and I had a lot of fun with it overall. The story was pretty awesome. Some of the villainy stuff was kind of whack, but that's kind of what Ghostbusters is. So I had a lot of fun with it overall. Now, this movie or this show, I keep doing that. This show, I really debated with the show. This could have been 15, 20 spots higher for me. The Rehearsal season one. I love the concept. I love what was done. I just kind of wish that it wasn't so focused on the final episodes on just the one storyline. I wish that there was more, like the first episode was kind of by itself. I mean, they bring the bar with him to Oregon and stuff, but I just wish that there was more variety there, I guess. And not I understand the concept of it, but it really just kind of turned into such a self-reflection that um that kind of took me out of it just a little bit. Number 35, Peacemaker season 1. Um Man, one of the best comic book TV shows ever, in my opinion. I loved it. Some of the humor didn't quite work for me. Uh, John Cena really killed it. He kills it in this role. He's built for this role. The serious parts really work for me. When he gets vulnerable, it really works. There's cheesy stuff in it, but I mean, it's just kind of what it is with the character and stuff. I love this show overall. This movie, I was kind of divisive on. Thor: Love and Thunder comes in at 34. Um, I'm kind of fall in line with most people where I say I feel like I had way too much humor in it. The feels like every series part was punctuated with a joke, which was a bummer. But I had a lot of fun with it, and I loved the final act when they're fighting in like that negative zone area. Had a lot of fun. I wish there was more gore though, too. Top of that, more gore. Number 33, What We Do in the Shadows season 4. Love this show. Love season 1 through 3. Um, First couple episodes of season 4, I wasn't really super vibing with, but man, it really picked up, and there's some parts that just had me rolling on the floor. Um, Now, I don't typically do this, but I put a YouTube show on here because it is very much in the same vein as a normal show, and that's Ghost Files season 1 by Watcher. Been a fan of these guys for a while. Watched all their previous unsolved stuff, and really was looking forward to this Ghost File show, which is basically just like their version of a ghost hunting show. That is what I like about it, though, is it. You know, a lot of people might watch the show, so they don't feel fake, they don't feel fake, or this one feels super fake or whatnot. But this particular one, I like it a lot because basically one of them is a super hardcore skeptic, and he does not change. I mean, he changes a little bit, but he's just like the balance is there. The only thing that I'm not a huge fan with the show is I don't know if it's the way they edit it or what, but it seems like there's times when they might actually be getting something and they seem to shrug it off, be like, okay, I'm leaving now. But again, it might be the way it's edited, but it's kind of like, wait, if you potentially might be getting some sort of contact, wouldn't you want to hang out a little longer? I don't know. Love it though. It's a lot of fun. 31, Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Um, some of the main story beats didn't quite work. I thought the movie looked amazing. Namor is awesome. Not super. I guess I'm not a super huge fan of how they handled the whole Black Panther passing of the torch, and you know, you know. Namor hates humans, even though his interaction with them was about 5 minutes worth. But I mean, it is what it is. There might have been more there that's just kind of off screen or whatnot, but really enjoyed it. Um, they did really well considering the circumstances for that movie. So it ranked pretty high for me. Number 30. This one took me a little bit by surprise. Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. Um, First couple minutes started off a bit slow for me, but by the end of it, borderline tears. Loved it. Thought it was super funny. A lot of the humor worked for me. Emotional stuff stuck. Number 29, another one, Werewolf by Night. Apparently, I enjoy these Marvel specials. Love the film style, love the editing, love the effects work in this one. Yeah, number 29, bottom of my A tier. So my A tier is what I considered stuff that I loved. Number 28, Somebody Feed Phil, season 5. Just a feel good show. Somebody Feed Phil on Netflix. Just watch it and smile the whole time you're watching it. Awesome show. Love it. Number 27, Blackbird, limited series. Apple Plus. Um, Amazing performances in this. I'm not super familiar with the real story or anything, but really well written, really well shot. Excellent. Just loved it. Number 26, Barry, season 3. What can I say about Barry? Huge fan of Barry, season 1 and 2. Season 3 had some knockout punches in it. Really great stuff. Had a couple things I was like, what the, okay. But yeah, overall, really liked it. Number 25, The Bear. I tried starting the show a handful of times. Once I finally got into it, just sucked in. Love this show. Amazing. I have no idea what it's like to work in a kitchen, but from what I hear, it's a lot like that. So, yeah, awesome show. Love it. Can't wait for more. Number 24, The Redeem Team doc. Another documentary about basketball. This one, loved it. Loved the focus on Kobe and LeBron and just that team in general. And awesome. This movie, next one, number 23. Huge surprise for basically everyone, I believe. Prey, the Predator movie. Didn't see this coming. Loved it. Loved the setting. Loved everything about it. I mean, most of these things from here on out, I won't have much to complain about, to be honest. For a Predator movie, it's my favorite Predator movie, personally. Um, Number 22, Mitchell's vs. Machines. I was a little slow getting to this one. Came out in 2021. Heard great things about it. Another Netflix one. Man, just awesome animation. Amazing. I think it's Sony that did it. And what can I say? It's super emotional, funny, witty, top tier animation in my opinion. Number 21, another one of these movies, classic movie night movie. A lot of people have one of the best movies of all time. Really enjoyed it. Aspects of it I really love. Number 21 is The Godfather. I mean, there's not much to complain about or anything. I loved it once it hit like the Italy scene. Like once he went to Italy and stuff, I was just like, okay, I see why people love this movie. Um, it maybe just didn't resonate with me as much as movies above this, but amazing movie. Number 20, here's a movie that seems to be a little divisive, which for me personally worked really well, is The Black Phone. Ethan Hawke was just amazing, and all the kid actors were really great. And when you get really great kid actors in movies, that elevates it a lot for me. Number 19, Nope. Another one that seems to be a little divisive. A lot of people expect something from Jordan Peele. I went into this one a little bit open-minded and kind of expecting less horror and more thriller, which I believed worked for me because it is definitely more of a thriller than a horror movie. And I'm also a sucker for UFOs. And I love the interpretation of what they did in this movie. Love the setting, love the way it was filmed. It was beautiful. Yeah, this is definitely a movie that I've been wanting to watch again, but I haven't because I've been trying to watch as much new stuff as possible. But I'll definitely be getting around soon to watching it again. Number 18, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Sam Raimi works for me. His take with everything on here really worked for me. My only real complaint about the movie is how easily, spoiler alert, how easily the Illuminati was. But other than that, loved it. Number 17, just finished this recently, Arcane season 1. I started, I got through the first 2 episodes a while ago. It wasn't super clicking with me, but there's something, I believe in episode 3 or 4 that happens that's just kind of like that moment. And once I got past that, yeah, it was all uphill. Amazing, amazing show. Number 16, The Boys season 3. Again, it's one of those shows like, what can you say, man? It's just the quality of those shows just keep ramping up. It's just so good. And they got the spinoff coming up. I'm really looking forward to. Um, the addition of Soldier Boy was amazing. Some of those fight scenes in this season was just top tier comic book or comic book fight scenes on screen in general. 15, a show I love a lot, For All Mankind, season 3. One aspect of the show that's bugged me for a while, still bugs me, is the Danny character, but everything else I absolutely love. Ranked really high for me. Here's a show I watched the full series this year. Number 14, Breaking Bad. Amazing show. Obviously, people know it's an amazing show. I don't feel like it's quite the god tier show a lot of people think it is. Partially, the main problem I have with the show is the characters' personalities switch a lot episode per episode. Um, like they become completely different people. It feels like episode over like one episode to the next sometimes, which that kind of bugged me. But everything else about it, I loved. And since I watched this full series for the first time in 2022, I didn't get around yet to watch Better Call Saul, which a lot of people say it's better. So hoping to get around to that in 2023. Number 13, Attack on Titan, final season, part 2. It's just, I don't watch anime. I got into Attack on Titan from a friend's recommendation. Makes me want to watch more anime. This is just amazing. Just jaw on the floor half the time. I was really surprised though when the final episode aired and there was more. The final season is actually, I don't know how many parts at this point, but part 3 is coming out in another 6 months or something. I don't know. Loved it though. Number 12, Welcome to Wrexham, season 1. I assume it's a season 1. I don't know if they're making more. Ryan Reynolds, Rob McElhenney buying Wrexham Soccer Club. Loved it. It's just feel good. Awesome to see behind the scenes with all that kind of stuff. A really good watch. I just loved it. I mean, Attack on Titan was the beginning of my S tier, my amazing stuff. So everything here, I'm not gonna have much negative to say if anything at all. Number 11, Severance season 1 came out of nowhere. Concept was amazing. Acting, writing, everything is amazing. Number 10, The Northman. This one seems to be a little divisive with a lot of people. I think the promotions for it kind of made it kind of feel like it was going to be one thing, but it was something different, and I loved the different. I loved what it was. Um, yeah. Number 9, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Best multiverse madness, or best multiverse madness. Best multiverse movie of the year, which you'll hear a lot of people say, and it's just an experience. Well, what can you say? Amazing movie experience. Hot dog fingers. I mean, what can you say? Number 8, Avatar 2, The Way of the Water, or The Way of Water. Um, This movie was like nothing I've seen in theaters before. James Cameron does not miss. It is beautiful, beautiful movie to watch. A lot of people complain about the simplicity of the story, but I don't need all my stories to be think pieces. I want, if a movie is sucking me into that world, that's what I truly want. And this movie knocks that out of the park. Um, Stranger Things season four, um, feel like season four really hit a different stride, and such iconic moments in season four that just became a huge part of pop culture and everything. Just absolutely love season four. Number six, I haven't had a video game in a while. God of War Ragnarok on the PS5. Lucky enough, I don't have a PS5, but my buddy let me borrow his. Amazing game. Um, love the first one. These couple games, the 2018 and this God of War Ragnarok, couple of my favorite games of all time. Absolutely, I love the writing in this game, everything about it. A little nervous about Amazon making the show adaptation of it. Don't feel like Amazon has had the best track record lately with the properties that I've liked and them making stuff for, but we'll see. Number five, Andor season one. This was the Star Wars that I needed in my life. HBO, basically Star Wars. Beautifully shot, beautifully written. Some of the best monologues of the year out of anything. Absolutely loved it. Number four, The Batman. Um, I was a fan of the Robert Pattinson casting from the get go. And again, I would probably say that the only nitpicky thing about this movie for me was they maybe could have cut out 10, 15 minutes, but I was there for the whole thing. Loved it. Loved the brutality. Loved the darkness. Just can't wait for the second one. Number three, Under the Banner of Heaven. True crime series about something that happened back in the 80s with the Mormon church in Utah. Um, Andrew Garfield, big Andrew Garfield fan. And he killed everybody in this show kills it. It's awesome. What can I say? I don't know why, but it really, really stuck. Like it really just like kind of clinched into my mind. I ended up loving this and became my number three overall. Number two, that's House of the Dragon. Man, I love this show. Everything about it, I just thought it was. I felt like for the most part, it felt like prime Game of Thrones throughout an entire season. The effects were amazing, writing was awesome, characters were great. Um, yeah, can't wait for season two. And my number one, we made it. Started at 111. Number one was actually a surprise for me. This movie, I went in with really high expectations, and this exceeded those expectations. And that is Top Gun Maverick. How did they do it? Making a sequel this long after the original, $1.4 billion at the box office, just jaw dropping. Like, I watched this movie, and yeah, it doesn't have the greatest plot, but man, there's just gold magic with this movie. It's hard, it's hard to explain. It's, I'm like not a fighter jet guy. Like, I'm not like the first Top Gun I thought was pretty good. But this movie, I think when I got done watching it, or no, um, I'm thinking of Black Adam. When I got done with Black Adam, I was like, oh, I wonder if this is how fans of Fast and the Furious feel when they watch a crappy movie, but love it a lot. But yeah, Top Gun Maverick, amazing movie. That's my number one. Um, that's it. We did it. 111 fully ranked. put out there. If there's, I'm thinking of doing more like top 10 movies, top 10 shows, my most anticipated for 2023. If people watch this and like it, um, subscribe, let me know. Um, First time doing anything like this. So, again, appreciate if you've stuck with me for an hour or so, however long it's been. It's been a while. And yeah, like, subscribe, all that cool, fun stuff. And hope to make more of these. Thanks.